Okay, because I think it's important information for people to know. Okay, so oh wait, no, I'm not sharing anything. Hold on. Where? Mm-mm. Okay, all right. So you're gonna go to csi.cuny.edu, right? This is CSI's standard website. But if you scroll all the way on the bottom, you're going to see something called library, right? This link right here called library. You're going to press it, and it brings you to this page where you can look up books and articles. And you could also look up specific databases like Academic Search Complete. Another good one, wait, where is it? Oh, EBSCOhost databases. Uh, I just passed a JSTOR, which, as a CSI student, you have access to JSTOR, right? If you're not part of CUNY at all, then you have to create your own JSTOR account. But because you're a student at CSI, we all have a JSTOR account. Anyway, you go to books and you search term, books and articles, you search term, and you could type in something like, let's say I try to put evolution of humor. Let's see what comes up. I actually haven't tried this yet, so we're all experiencing it for the first time, but let's see what happens. Evolution of humor. Evolution of humor. Wait for it to load, obviously. Okay. And you get this article right here, The Neurology and Evolution of Humor, Laughter, and Smiling, the False Alarm Theory. And it says available online, so you can read the whole article online. It brings you to this page, but let's see if I could download the article. And it even gives you, like, if you want to like cite this essay, it provides you a link on how to cite this essay. But accessing the actual essay itself, let me see. Oh, and yeah, you might have to use your sloss, your email username and like the same username and password that you use for your CIX email. You have to use it here. Um, I had a brain fart for a second. I forgot what my password was. And apparently I still don't. So wait, hold on. Okay, there it is. And hold on. I'm trying to download this. Oh, download full text in PDF. I'm waiting for it to load. Maybe my internet connection isn't that great where I am. But you know what? Even like the abstract is a little like a little preview to what the essay is going to be about. So you could read that abstract, and that alone will give you an idea of whether this essay is right for you or not. All right, this is, and trust me, right now it seems a little annoying, but it actually is a great source. Another good source is Google Scholar as well. You could use Google Scholar to help you find good sources. Hold on, what is happening here? And it's usually not this complicated either. Oh, is it downloading somewhere? Yes, download the article. Okay, good. There's the article. I downloaded it as a PDF, and this article is actually just 4 pages long. That's very brief for an academic article. Most of them are much longer than 4 pages, but this is only 4 pages long. So you read it, you say to yourself, oh, this is really good research that really supports the point that I'm trying to say in my essay, or this is an interesting study that was done, right? Because a lot of these online articles are studies that are done on groups of people, and the information that are learned through these studies could actually really benefit the argument that you are trying to make. Now let's look at Google Scholar briefly, because another source that people use is Google Scholar, not Google, but Google Scholar, right? It's a slightly different entity. So this is Google Scholar, and it gives you a choice of articles or case law. But you want to have it on articles. Humor, and I type in humor theory, or you know what? Let's try evolution of humor. Right? I think that's exactly what I wrote previously. So, and it does provide you more articles. It provides you PDFs, another PDF to this article that was called, what was it called? Speculations of Evolution of Humoral Adaptive Immunity, which I don't even know what that actually means personally but let me see if I have a better example for you guys. The evolution humoral immunity in females than males. Oh, vaccine efficiency. Also is, oh, wait a minute. It, for some reason, of humor, evolution of humor. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. The neurology and evolution of humor, laughter. Oh, wait, is that the same exact? Oh, that's the same exact article that I showed you guys before. The evolution and functions of laughter and humor, a synthetic approach. And it provides you the PDF. A number of recent hypotheses have attempted to explain the ultimate evolutionary origins of laughter and humor. However, most of these have lacked breadth in their evolutionary framework, while neglecting the empirical existence of two distinct types of laughter. Wow. If you're writing about humor theory, this is obviously a potentially fascinating article, and it's not found, which defeating what I'm trying to do here. That sucks. But you want to view on universe? Is that what I just clicked on? Oh no, abstracts, and then let's see if I could download the PDF. Access, login now if you have an individual member description. Login through your institution. Single sign-on access here. Let's see if I could just log in through my institution. Well, I mean, not every source on Google Scholar requires you to log in. Some of them are just on Google Scholar, but it's another option. I would say first use CSI's online library, and then if you have to, then try Google Scholar, you know. Or if you do find a legitimately fine article on Google, or I don't know, does anybody even use like one of the other search engines? Like I remember when I was young, we had like Axe Jeeves was another one. But anyway, whatever. The point is,
It's 1:30.
the point is, you really should try to, if you could, you should try to use an academic article, right? And they would usually say, peer reviewed, right? You want to look for the words peer reviewed. Hold on. Let me show you. Right. You see this word right here, peer reviewed. That means it's an academic source. And you could actually set the filters to limit to peer reviewed journal right here. Limit to peer reviewed journal, and then you press apply filters. And you get all legitimate peer-reviewed articles. And what I mean by legitimate, what I mean is they've been verified by other people. It's not just some Joe Schmo who lives in his mother's basement who hates feminists or hates women and writes a bunch of BS that sounds convincing, but it's not, right? Just by typing in the evolution of humor from male aggression. That sounds interesting. Humor evolution in women from primary school to college. Interesting. Looking in through outdoor, social, cultural, and historical perspective on the evolution of advertising humor. So, I mean, if you're writing about metaphors in racist advertising in America, right? The subject that we touch upon last week, I believe we talked about that a little bit. If that's what you're writing about, then in your essay, then this sounds like a really good article, even if it's not like talking about racism per se. It's, as we know, not most, but a lot of advertising, tries to be funny somehow. And, this article discusses humor and how humor has evolved in advertising. So that to me, that sounds fascinating in of itself. Now, the thing with a lot of these articles is they are long. That is the only issue. The only downside is that they're long articles. And I know we live busy lives. I get it. We don't have time to read. This one is almost 30 pages long. I don't expect you to read all 30 pages. But, again, if you're writing about humor theory and the evolution of humor and humor in advertising, let's say, this is still might be an article you might want to like at least read a few passages here and there. And when you go to summarize the articles in your annotated bibliography, you don't have to summarize like every single paragraph of the article you read. Just really give me like the important points. Like what is the writer's arguments? What's his theories? How does, what is a really good point he makes here? How does he conclude his essay? Things like that. You look at um, the main points of the article, if that makes any sense. In other words, you don't have to go paragraph or page by page. You just give me the important, like the main points of the article. Like if you guys were at my level, if you were a graduate student, then you would kind of have to do that. But because you're freshmen, I'm not expecting, seriously thorough, like a thorough examination of 6 articles. But I mean, like evolution and functions of laughter and humor, a synthetic approach, you know, like, I mean, these are really good sources to help with your essay. Let's look up social media in society. Let's see something even more specific. This is, to me, this is a more specific topic. Let's see if something comes up. Maybe nothing will come up, and but yeah, I mean, young people, peer-to-peer grooming and sexual offending, understanding and responding to harmful sexual behavior within a social media society. I mean, that sounds like like again, another fascinating article. Well, I'm gonna just look up peer-reviewed journals because they do have books on here as well. But I don't expect you to read a whole book in preparation for this essay. I mean, if you want to, great. I won't say no to it, but I'm not expecting it. Making sense of society through social media. I mean, if you're writing about social media in your essay, I would put like a little gold star here, right? And the great thing about this is if you want to cite this article and you don't know how to, you go to these little, commas here, and citation comes up, and you press it, and it gives you the citation. So the work, a lot of it is already done here for you. You just need to make sure you click on the right one, right? Because you don't want to press APA, right? I don't want any APA citations. You don't want, Chicago, that's another one. I mean, like, so when you go to your works cited page for your essay, the work is done for you right here. So that's another great reason why, this is a great resource for you. And again, it's on the CSI's websites. The only thing you have to do is, if you don't have a password for your CIX email yet, I know most of you do already. But if you don't, then it would be beneficial if you were to set that up. Any questions?
No, just thanks for showing that again. That's really crazy that they put the exactly how to cite it right there for you.
Yeah, it's a great tool. It's a great tool. Like, me as a student, it really helps me a lot. But I know that there are some students out there who will just cut corners and just pray and hope that your regular Google search will, you know, have something. Um, but you know, you end up doing more work than you have to that way, in my opinion. Because again, when it comes to Google, they will post anything that has the word humor in it, you know, and mostly it'll be stuff that won't help you at all. You know, so then you got to like really verify whether it's a good source or not. You know, again, I didn't plan on doing this, but let me just again do another brief experiment. I'm going to go on Google and type in humor theory. And again, your regular standard Google, you know, the one that obviously everyone knows, right? Okay. Humor theory. Right. And yeah, I mean, listen, you do have some fine potential sources. Um, but you know, I mean, you get also Wikipedia, which, you know, I mean, I don't recommend you use or rely on Wikipedia, first of all. Second of all, I don't even consider Wikipedia as a legitimate source. I don't, even though most of it is legitimate still. There's a lot of bull crap on Wikipedia as well. Um, Encyclopedia Britannica, that's better than Wikipedia, but still, you know, I want to see one that's just a full on just blog post. Humorism, the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Oh, slate.com. 5 leading theories for why we laugh. This is a blog post. This is a blog post. You know, and a good way to catch whether it's a blog post or not is if you see I mean, it's slate.com. You know, slate.com is more of like almost like an internet magazine, if that makes any sense. And it's not something that I would consider, you know, anything scholarly, if that makes anything, if that makes any sense. And also another hint is if there's like bad grammar. You know, if there's a lot of bad grammar, because obviously that means it really hasn't been verified. Like some editor was just like, yeah, that's good enough. You know, I'm not going to read this, but still, this seems very blog posty to me. You know, it might be a good article. It might be fine. I just haven't read it, but it might be fine. But I would trust something that says peer reviewed, like it has that stamp, more than something from slate.com. Right now, if you were to include it in your essay, I would be fine with it. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But still, for your benefit, I would try to use more peer reviewed research. Mm-mm. You know what? Let's try this. Social media in society. BBC is, you know, I mean, they're a legitimate news source, you know, but it's more, you know, I mean, BBC is obviously just the news, right? So, and we know how the news can be sensationalist. It could be, misleading, right? So, I mean, if you're looking for like specific information, like dates and times that something happened, then obviously, things like BBC or CNN is fine. But if you're looking for something more concrete, then, you know, I would avoid, sensationalist news, like, on bot like news where there's more bias. Um, I mean, I'm not sure how biased BBC is, but you get the point. We know that in our society, at least, the news could be very misleading. So, you want to avoid bias as much as possible. Uh, you know, I actually want to ask people what they are thinking about writing for the second essay. And if it's just an extension of the first essay, I would like to know, uh, actually, you know, and even though you're going to tell me in your proposals anyway, I think it would be good if we just hear it now, especially if there's since just 10 of you here, right? This is a brief class. It's just, I mean, a short class. So, if you don't mind, in the chat room, let's just take like a few minutes and write a little bit about what we are thinking about writing about for the next essay. Okay? Did everyone get that?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll give you 10 minutes, and you could just write a little bit, but 10 minutes about what your next essay, what it might be about. And if at this point you don't know what you are going to write about, then I don't know, maybe in your mind for the next 10 minutes, just explore, some ideas that you're debating in your head already. And if again, you still don't know what you're going to write about, you can say that. You can say, I don't know what I'm going to write about. But, I am debating, either social media or, I don't know, the surprise theory, right? So,
Write it on what? The chat?
the little chat room right here.
No, okay.
Yeah. Um,
Wait,
the
I'm
little
sorry
chat
because
room right here.
I'm at work. Is it okay if I tell you it?
Yeah, yeah. But at 1:55.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. So at 1:55, I'm gonna see what you guys wrote. Or what you have to say. All right, so you know what? Only two people have written something so far. And if I like it's funny though, because if we were in an actual classroom, right? I would actually point at every student, like every student in the room, and I would ask them, hey Ebony, what are you gonna write about? Hey Michael, what are you gonna write about? You know, so like in other words, you can't really hide behind the computer if we were in an actual classroom. So I mean, listen, if you're shy and you don't want to write about, you don't want to tell anyone what you're gonna write about. I mean, I can't make you write about something, but you know, I'm actually trying to help you. So, I'll give you till 2 o'clock, so 4 more minutes. You know, and again, if you have no idea, you can say that I have no idea, and that's fine. That's okay. Um, and it's also my way of knowing that you're somewhat attentive right now, right? So 4 more minutes I'll give you, but I really would like you to write something. And maybe you're busy doing something else right now. I get that, but still, this is class time. It is. So write something.
Professor,
Yes.
I wrote my thing in the chat, but
Yeah.
I kind of have to go now because of my work. Is that
All right.
okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Just right before you go, just quickly remind me what your first essay was about.
My first essay was like about the use of social media and how it affects humor nowadays.
Okay. Okay.
Like mostly developing on specific apps like TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat,
Okay.
Twitter.
All right. I would love to ask you more about it, but as you said, you got to go. So I'll let you go.
Mm, I can probably join. I can definitely join back in like 10-15 minutes.
Oh, if we're still going on, then absolutely.
Oh, then I can wait a little bit if you want to talk about it. That's no problem.
No, no, do what you got to do.
No, I don't have to go right now, but I was gonna prepare some stuff for later for here because I'm about to leave soon. So I can. Don't worry though. It's good. It's good. I can wait.
Well, I was just gonna ask, like, what specifically are you going to like? I mean, have you thought about what specifically you might expand on? Like, is it a positive influence on our sense of humor or a negative influence?
If it was me personally speaking, it would be positive. But speaking from a general public point of view,
Hmm.
I mostly said that it was negative because the way that humor was perceived before,
Mhm.
listening to ideas from people who are older than us and were around time before my generation,
Right.
clearly is not the same as it is now. Wait, the doorbell's ringing. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Okay. So a few people posted something, you know. All right, so Eric wrote, I wanted to start a new topic, but I think it's safer to expand on an idea from my first essay. I had briefly touched on technology in the original essay. Uh, I would try to expand on advancements that have come up in the last 15 years. Also, I would try to do research on how cancel culture has affected the comedians I had analyzed. There might be something there to explore. And I would agree with that, absolutely. That there is something there to explore for sure. Um, but also one thing when we talk about cancel culture, I think it's also important to keep in mind that cancel culture has been something that's been around for a long time, actually, and that in of itself has evolved. Like, for example, when oh, what is her name? One of the comedians, Eric, that you actually talk about in your essay,
Oh,
Ellen
Ellen.
DeGeneres.
Yeah.
Ellen, when she came out as a lesbian back in the 90s, her show was shortly canceled after that. It was literally canceled, like like when they take a show off the air, that's the term they use. It's canceled. So was that an example of cancel culture, right? Just working in a less woke way than what we usually connect cancel culture to, right? And book burning, that's cancel culture. It is. You're literally destroying media because it has content in it that you don't agree with or like. But again, you could talk about cancel culture within the context of the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, if you want to. But it's just another thing to keep in mind is that cancel culture is not a new concept. It's just evolved and changed in some ways. And writing a whole essay about that in of itself could be fascinating, and might be something culturally relevant, like something that should be discussed more and isn't, you know. But anyway, good topic. I like it. Now, when you say it's safer, I would certainly say it's easier to expand on your previous essay. You know, especially if you're at the point that you're not inspired to write about a whole new topic. You know, like nothing that we've really discussed since that first essay has inspired you to write, a whole new essay about that particular subject.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting where I'm at right now.
Yeah. So, and I imagine what you're going to do is what 90% of your classmates are going to do, you know, because it just sounds easier. I'm just giving you the option that if you want to write about a whole new topic, I won't say no. You could absolutely do so. But if you want to expand on that first essay, you can do that too. But I also don't want to just see a copy and paste to that first essay either.
Yeah,
I
well, there's
really,
definitely like pros and cons to like, each choice, like whether you just start from scratch or if you are evolving on your previous essay, because like, you're gonna have to like take things out and add things in just to kind of rechange the narrative to fit what you're trying to prove in this essay,
absolutely, absolutely. And when I put people
which
into
isn't
group,
easy either.
which isn't, you're right, actually. It's actually a lot, it could be potentially harder than it sounds, right? It might sound like the easy way out, but it really may not be. And actually, when I put people into groups and we have that group with, teacher discussion, I would actually encourage students to like share their essays, like how I share, things with you guys during our Zoom meetings, to share your essay. And I could like look at specific things about the essay and, really like diagnose it, dissect
My
it.
bad, professor. I'm back.
You're back. Oh wow. Bjorn returns. Is that how you say your name, by the way? How do you say your
Bjorn.
name?
Bjorn.
Bjorn. Okay. Oh, like the singer, right? There's a singer named Bjorn, I think. Anyway, um, yeah. So,
Where were we?
oh, we were talking about what Eric wrote. How he's gonna like try to just really like he's thinking about just expanding his first essay, but also include a little bit about cancel culture in there. And I was just saying that one thing to just have in the back of your head, you don't have to like really explore it too much in your essay, but if you are going to talk about cancel culture, then during the writing process, you should at least remind yourself that cancel culture, even though we treat it as if it's a new thing and it's just something that young people deal with, um, it's actually not a new concept, cancel culture. Cancel culture has been around for centuries. It's just simply evolved over the years. And the way that it's used now is part of that evolution. You know, because
It's
again,
actually
like,
it's actually a great idea.
yeah, I mean, listen, the Nazis had cancel culture.
Damn.
They burnt books. They told people don't read this book because it was written by a Jew, you know. So it's an old concept. Just people, I feel like people treat it today as if it's something that, again, woke young kids do, um because of the internet, really. Now it's become more apparent in society because really because of the internet, you know. Um Yeah. Anyway, Michael writes, I'm thinking about expanding on the idea from my first essay in that different theories of humor and how on different theories of humor and how humor isn't a one size fit all. I would also like to expand on how people are offended by almost all jokes now. So maybe I will discuss how that kills comedy. I will certainly say this, that I think, yeah, like a lot of what people write on social media does affect their livelihoods more than they realize. Like, for example, a film director named James Gunn. He directed a couple of Marvel movies, Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Oh yeah, and he got fired for his old tweet or something.
He was temporarily fired from Disney because of a couple of tweets that he wrote like 20 years ago. No, well, maybe sooner than that, like 10 years. The point is, it was in a different time in James Gunn's life that he wrote these tweets. And Disney, and somebody brought it up one day, and Disney fired him for it. Um, Now the question is, should something from your past come back to haunt you that way? That is not necessarily okay, in my opinion. Like something so far in the past, should that come back and haunt you? I would say no. And Disney eventually rehired him, but still it took an online movement to get him to be rehired. And I see Bjorn, I think he has his hand up. Yes. Yes, Bjorn. Do you want to say something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I just think cancel culture is so stupid, but it's something that I could easily elaborate on in my essay. So
Yeah,
I think I might
especially,
involve part of it. And also I just didn't want to interrupt you, but I'm gonna have to run for a little bit. And I'll join back if you're in the meeting still, but I'm sorry. I just, you know,
Listen, you're at work. It is what it is.
I wish I could stay longer. I actually am enjoying the topic a lot, but
Yeah. Listen, if you want to talk, you know, some other day, just let me know. Okay?
I'd love to.
All right. Anyway,
All right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, see you later.
See you.
Ewan.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, if you're going to talk about social media, I almost feel like, I mean, do you have to talk about cancel culture? Well, the two certainly go hand in hand, right? It's part of the evolution of cancel culture. You know, the fact that you could comment on somebody's post and say something really mean and disparaging and maybe even meaner than the post itself is part of it. You know, it's definitely part of it. And flagging a post, for example. Um, I do believe that sometimes certain posts should be criticized. I do agree that sometimes if somebody, let's say, says something straight up offensive without, you know, trying to be funny, depending on what it is they're saying, you know, I believe if you have nothing good to say, then you shouldn't say it, right? Like what our parents taught us when we were kids. But at the same time, you know, cancel culture is just like anything in life. Too much of anything is a bad thing, right? And that certainly applies to cancel culture, you know, and it's easier today to do so because we can hide behind a computer screen, right? You don't have to go and burn a book. You could just, you know, click on the little flag, you know, that's on Facebook. And I'm sure Twitter has its own thing where you could like, you know, um, alert the Twitter authorities. Okay. So Nancy writes, I was thinking of switching my topic to another one, but now I think it would take me more time. I would like to expand on my original essay and talk more about technology and how that has impacted and affected comedy, but I'm not really sure yet. You know, and yeah, absolutely. I do believe because of the internet and social media, the way we find humor and find things that are funny has certainly changed. You know, just I think a way to approach this is to think about how we have changed. How, like maybe your generation, right? You know your generation better than I do. So you can think about, well, yeah, why do I laugh at, like, I don't know, a certain meme, for example? Why do I find TikTok funny? Is it the brevity of the joke? Is it the fact that the joke gets straight to the point? Is it how the image is um put together? uh or even that meme where it shows like that lady screaming and a cat sitting there just like saying like, you know, doing that gesture like what, like explain that, you know. Yeah, that's why being detailed is good because it lets me understand the point you're trying to make. uh oh, Nancy has a question and it's to everyone, so I think it's okay to read it. I have a question. I'm sorry. The topic for the annotated bibliography is whatever we want, or should we write something specific? I think when you approach the annotated bibliography, you should pick again 6 sources that maybe that you might include in your essay. So in other words, don't pick just 6 random outside sources. Pick 6 sources that you would potentially include in the essay that you're going to write. Okay. Um, and that's about it. That's all the people who wrote so far. Um, does anyone have any other ideas that they would like to share about what they might want to write about? You know, I imagine you're just going to expand the first essay, which is fine. But is there anything specific you might want to expand on? I mean, as I said, if I was teaching you in a class, I would point to, let's say, I don't know, Destin. Like if I saw Destin sitting there, I'd be like, "Hey, Destin, what are you thinking about writing about?" You know, but I'm not gonna do that, you know, because I don't even like. I don't know. I'm not gonna make you talk in this situation if you don't want to. That's fine. Briefly though, before we call it a day, we did have a reading this week, right? We did have a reading this week, and I thought, you know, for anyone who actually read the article, "Foreigners Are Funny: The Ethicity of Ethnicity and Ethnicity of Humor," written by Simon Critchley. It's very interesting. You know, so again, if you haven't had the opportunity to read it yet, I absolutely recommend you do so. Um, you know, the only thing is it's an excerpt from a book. That's the only thing. You can't find these particular pages by itself on the internet. You would have to read the whole book, unless of course. Could you get that when you get a chance? Chance on the rhetoric of humor, page 79 to 88. And he talks about how different different cultures impacts specific ethnicities. So, you know, one particular passage that I absolutely love, that I find fascinating, is on page 82 in the rhetoric of humor. And he says, recall, now this is straight from the reading. Recall that George Orwell famously said that the British Empire was based on two fundamental beliefs: nothing ever changes and foreigners are funny. Right? Nothing ever changes and foreigners are funny. In ethnic humor, the ethos of a place is expressed by laughing at people who are not like us, and usually believed to be either excessively stupid or peculiarly canny. In England, the Irish are traditionally described as stupid and the Scots as canny. In Canada, the Newfies and the Nova Scotians assume these roles. In Finland, the Karelians are deemed stupid and the Lahians clever. In India, the Sikhs and the Gurashans occupy these spaces. Either way, the belief is that they are inferior to us, or at least somehow disadvantaged because they are not like us. Such is the menacing flip side of the belief in the untranslatability and exclusivity of humor. Sorry, I got a little tongue twisted there. But what is he now in this article? I'm going to reread a sentence. Either way, the belief is that they are inferior to us. They are inferior to us, or at least somehow disadvantaged because they are not like us. why would certain cultures have that belief that we are better than them? Does anyone want to theorize on why that is? And maybe it's obvious as to why. But why would, like, for example, us, let's say Americans, want to believe that we have, let's say, the best country in the world and everyone else is inferior? Destin writes, isn't the term called egocentrism? Egocentrism. And yes, that is the proper term. But why does that even exist? You know, why does egocentrism exist? Why do you think? You know, and it's actually, there's a lot of philosophy behind this, believe it or not. There's, you know, and I think we just want to believe that we're better than the next person. You know, that we live in the best world. We are raised the best way, right? You know, and there is a specific theory out there called the fear theory, where everything that we do in life is partially motivated by some kind of fear. Like even things we enjoy is somehow connected to some fear out there that we have about something, whether it's, for example, let's say you have a diet, right? You have a diet, you only eat vegetables. You know, we do it because, yes, we want to be healthy, or we care about animals, therefore we, you know, don't want to eat any animals. But subconsciously, there is a survival factor at play. And this does connect to why we make fun of certain cultures. You know, we want to make fun of certain cultures, maybe because we have a fear of what we're not familiar with. And we translate that fear through laughter, through humor, which is ironic because most people views laughter and humor and joy as a complete opposite of fear. And yet perhaps the two are directly connected. So, you know, this is, again, if you haven't read this reading, I think it's an absolutely fascinating reading, and it's definitely a great research topic. And also part of the article, it suggests that our humor evolves based on our life experience. And we, to the point where we almost become like ashamed of what we used to find funny. Right. And that's why I asked that question in the discussion board. Has your own sense of humor changed? And do you feel a sense of almost disgust at what you used to find funny? You know, and I mean, I personally, I don't. I don't find any shame because I know that what I used to find funny back then, you know, it's just based on my life experience at that time. And what I find funny now is based on my current life experience. And what I find funny 10 years from now might be based on, you know, whatever my life experience is at that point. But, you know, again, if you haven't participated in the discussion board yet, I encourage you to read, you know, your other classmates' responses and, you know, read how their sense of humor has changed. I mean, certainly for most of us, our sense of humor matures as we get older, right? things that we found funny, like, I don't know, when we're little, obviously is different now, and you even see this on, like, let's say social media, like, let's say 4 years ago you liked a post that, now you would say to yourself, oh my God, why would I like such a stupid, I don't know, terrible picture of that person, or such a stupid meme, like, why or how in the hell did I find that funny? But the thing is, at that time you did find it funny. Now what you find funny now is could be completely different, and it's just interesting to think about that difference. um and again, it's another potential essay topic. Either way, read Simon Critchley's article, uh, and then participate in the discussion board. um and I do want to say more about it, um because it does connect a little bit to last week's discussion, a little bit about, like, stuff white people likes. You can argue that that's a little culture in of itself, and you could see it, like, right in this country alone, like on the west of the country, and like Seattle is almost like a completely different culture than here in New York. And people in Florida, it's like a whole different culture than people in Arizona, you know. And it's just fascinating to think about, um, how we process certain fears that we have of other cultures out there. Actually, if you look at the article, it has a little picture of this little picture right here. And, why would the term Cleveland Indians, for example, be offensive to somebody, right? Maybe it's not offensive to certain people, but, clearly to Native Americans, having a baseball team named Cleveland Indians is offensive to them. Um, and the picture illustrates, well, what if other cultures were used the same way? What if there was the New York Jews, for example, or the San Francisco Chinamen? And maybe it's not obvious as to why it is offensive, but it does illustrate how certain ethnic groups are potentially put down because of how different they are than what we're accustomed to. Like, could there be a football team called the New Jersey White Boys? I don't know, maybe. Um, I don't know, maybe, but somebody out there will obviously be offended by it. So anyway, before I conclude today's class, are there any other questions for me? No one? Are there? Oh wait, Eric, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I don't have any questions, but that I thought that the class was very helpful today. Thank you.
Yes, no problem. Is there any questions about certain due dates? Because I will post my schedule of due dates.
It's 2:30.
I will post that schedule. But are there any questions as of right now? No? No, so to get, again, remind everybody, I do, again, I wanted you to post a proposal actually by, I was hoping by today, but I really would like you to post something next week, a proposal for the second essay, preferably before Saturday. That would be my preference, is to post it before Saturday. And, I do want like a 3 to 5 page first draft of that second essay. Again, by next week, by May, I'm thinking about the 8th. Thinking about the 8th or the weekend of the 8th. So 8th or 9th. And again, it's a first draft. I'm not expecting anything fantastic, but something written. Because again, I don't want you guys to wait too long to start writing this essay. And then the 15th, May 15th, is the annotated bibliography. Which is May 15th. It's the last day of classes, even though we're not going to have a formal class. It is the last day of classes. And then the 25th would be when everything is due, because that's the last day of finals week, right? That's the last day that there are finals being assigned in certain classes. And I'm treating this second essay as a final, right? Like, I don't give tests in this course, I give essays. Either way, I treat it more or less as the same. Yeah, and that would be my schedule. So next week, proposal and draft 1 of the essay. And again, it's a first draft, so just do your best. Do as much as you could. The week after that, annotated bibliography, and then the week after that, second draft of essay 2. That's the plan, and I'm gonna type this all out for you and post it on Monday for everyone to read. And I've been emailing people twice because I want to write an email directly to you guys and also post something on Blackboard as well, and make sure everybody could reads what's on Blackboard, just to make sure everybody's getting all my emails. And I also emailed a bunch of people about essays that they haven't if you haven't submitted the first essay yet, I emailed you on Thursday. So, if you're one of those people, I would check your emails. Are there any more questions? No? Yes? No? I mean, I do want to hear something. Are there any more questions?
Nope.
No. See, there you go. It's not that hard.
Yeah, but I've already said I don't have any more questions.
No, I know, but I want to hear other people besides you, right? I mean, it's great that, you said something, but, I want to hear other people too, it's not just me and Eric. Anyone, I want to hear one more no before I feel confident enough to wish people a happy Saturday.
I think we are good.
I'm sorry. Wait, Nancy, what was that?
I think we are good. That's why they don't talk.
Maybe, or they're just really shy, or they're watching the NFL draft and they're not paying attention, which is another possibility, you know. But
Maybe.
anyway, okay. So if we're good, we're good. If you have a question for me, you can email me. Of course, you could see me during my office hour. Can do that. You could ask me when we meet in little groups. Okay, so if we're good, we're good. Then I'll see everyone later, eventually. Okay? I'll catch you during the week, maybe, or some other time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.